I just checked into this container home Airbnb, and before I unpack, I'll show you how to check for hidden cameras in just 5 minutes with just my phone and no special equipment, because hidden cameras in Airbnbs and hotels is becoming a serious issue.
Says they found a camera in the bedroom of their Airbnb they were staying in.
A night in a hotel turns into a shocking invasion of privacy for more than 1,000 people. Police uncovered a massive network of hidden cameras in rooms, live streaming unsuspecting guests.
To make matters worse, these spy cams are getting tinier and cheaper, making them harder to detect and easier for creeps to get their hands on. The good news is, if you know what to look for, you can just scan your place in a few minutes and give yourself some peace of mind. So let's check this place out and see what we find. So when you first walk in to do your sweep, the idea is to use the 80-20 method here, because nobody's going to want to spend an hour searching every little crevice for a camera after you've been traveling all day. And the first thing I notice is that I have a dead cockroach down here, so that's pretty nice. So the first rule to being able to do this quickly and efficiently is to think like a criminal. You don't need to check every single crevice in the entire Airbnb or hotel. The creeps are going to put stuff where they're most likely to be able to see your goods, and so they're probably not going to put things in the entryway or in the kitchen or in the living room. But as you can see, this tiny container home, everything is all together, and so I kind of had to check everywhere. While you're watching this, I want you to think where you would hide a hidden camera if you were the creep. And obviously this area over here is going to be a prime target. In a container home like this, there's less overall hiding spots, but the downside is that literally every single angle could be a potential angle where I'm naked. The hardest places to find hidden cameras would be in those Airbnbs that just have tons of stuff and decorations and stuffed animals and things all over the place, like someone actually lives there. But lucky for me, this is kind of a basic rustic place on the beach. Now, this TV here obviously would have the best view in the entire house, and I'll show you a ridiculously easy way to solve this in a second. Okay, so once you've identified the hot zones where you're most likely to be exposed, the next step is to look for items that are positioned strangely or that just seem a little bit out of place. For example, if you see a smoke detector right directly above the bed, kind of suspicious. Or one of those old school alarm clocks on the dresser kind of positioned in a weird direction. Or that random USB power block plugged into the bathroom. I wonder why that's there. So just quickly scan for things that seem out of place. Wait, what's that over here? So, look at this kind of weird thing. It's like a weird telephone thingy without a telephone, and it just happens to be right in front of the bed. That would kind of set off alarm bells for me. So if you see anything like this, then I would give it a little extra attention and inspect it. You want to feel it with your hands for any bumps or anything. Try to look for any small holes in it. If I play around with it a bit, I can actually take it off the wall and I can see that it's connected here. And so that's always a red flag if things are connected and have a power source. From just looking and feeling at it like this, I don't see any way there could be a camera here, but I'll show you another trick to be sure in a second. Have you noticed anything in here that looks odd yet? Let me know in the comments where you would check next. I already know exactly where I would hide a camera if I was a creep, and I'll show you in a second. Next up is to search your hot areas for anything that is plugged into the walls, because while there are battery operated cameras out there, it's more likely to be connected to power somehow, because if you're staying in a place for several days, then the creep is going to want to have power and won't want the battery to run out. The good news for me is that in this place, there's really not even anything plugged into the power other than the TV and that weird phone thing by the bed, and this microwave and this fridge, which just so happen to be pointing directly at the bed. If you do see anything that looks suspicious, for example, if you thought this microwave was suspicious, for example, there are 3 easy steps that you can do to protect yourself. The first is just the manual check over, looking for the small tiny holes and looking for any bumps, feeling for bumps with your hand. The second is to use the light test, which I'll show you in a second. And the third is super easy, which I'll show you at the end. So now I'm gonna check the rest of the kitchen real quick, just because it faces directly towards the bed. And for a place that is so minimalistic, they sure have an impressive number of ways to drink beverages. There's literally nothing to show you as examples in this place. As you can see, There's nothing plugged in anywhere, but you want to look for things like smoke detectors, those little USB power brick thingies, those old school alarm clocks, maybe adapters like this thingy. This is actually mine, but stuff like this that's plugged into the wall. And if you do find any of these things and they happen to be pointing towards sensitive areas, there's 2 easy ways you can check to see if it might be a camera. The first is just flipping it around to like the back side, and sometimes you might be able to see some sort of QR code on the back. And normally with normal stuff, you're not gonna have QR codes on there. If it's a camera, they can scan the QR code to help connect it to Wi-Fi. If it does have a QR code, that doesn't mean 100% that it's a camera, because it's sometimes like smart home items that connect to your house also have those QR codes, but it's just one extra sign. The other method involves using an app on your phone, which I'll show you in a second, but first I wanna point out these plugs in the wall. For example, this one right here is where I would hide the camera if I were the creep. First of all, because it has a direct line towards the bed. Second of all, it's a plug that's right by the sink, and so probably no one's ever gonna use it. And third, because it's just really easy to buy these types of outlets that have hidden cameras on them easily online. This one right here only has 1 plug, but usually the way these work and they have 2 different places to plug things in, and the top one actually works, but the bottom one has a little camera inset inside of the little plug area, and so you can't actually plug anything into the bottom one. And so if you inspect it closely and use the light trick I'm going to show you and try to plug something in and it doesn't plug in, then there's a good chance that it's a camera. Since hidden cameras are disguised as normal, random, everyday objects, it can be kind of overwhelming to have to check everything. But the good news is that there's some objects that are way more common than others to have hidden cameras. So if you know what all of these popular spy cam items are, then you can check things way faster. I'll link to some of the most common spy cam items that people can buy easily on Amazon and eBay and AliExpress so that you can check for yourself. And then when you're scanning the room, just have all of these items in the back of your mind. Before we check the bathroom, let's now use our phone to see if we can find any cameras that are connected to Wi-Fi. Cameras that are connected to Wi-Fi allow the creeps to be able to watch you live or even stream what's recording live on the internet. And as you saw from the news stories at the beginning, this is actually a thing that happens. People pay to watch this. So there's a couple different ways you can do this on an iPhone or Android. On an iPhone, you can use a free app called the Airport Utility app, but there's a little trick that you have to do to make it work. After you download it, you need to go into your settings. I don't know if you can see this here. Then go down to your apps and then find the Airport Utility app here. And then at the very bottom here, you have to switch this Wi-Fi scanning on. Then from there, you just open up the app and then hit this little Wi-Fi scan button. And then here you get a list of all the networks. If this doesn't work, or if you have Android, you can also do it with an app called Fing. It's the same thing. You just scan current network and it will give you a big list of devices. It's helpful to do this right next to one of those devices that you think might be suspicious, like a random alarm clock or something like that. And then if you see anything weird on the list, you could unplug that alarm clock, for example, and see if the thing disappears from the list. Another thing you can do is if you see any brand names or things on there that you don't recognize, you could quick Google them and see if the brand name is a brand name of a hidden camera. Just remember that this method doesn't detect the offline cameras though that are just recording to an SD card and internal memory and aren't actually connected to Wi-Fi. Speaking of Wi-Fi, I never use Airbnb Wi-Fi or hotel Wi-Fi or any public Wi-Fi without first connecting to my VPN. Even if we don't find any hidden cameras here, unsecured Wi-Fi is still a huge privacy risk. Think of all the people that have had the Wi-Fi password at your Airbnb. And at hotels, hackers can create fake Wi-Fi networks that look exactly like the hotel's real Wi-Fi. If you accidentally connect to it without using a VPN, your sensitive data, your email logins, your bank passwords, they're all up for grabs. But with one click, you can turn on a VPN that essentially hides your data from being stolen. I switched to NordVPN, who's sponsoring this video, because of their faster connection speeds compared to some other VPNs that take forever to load. I've also found that they take security a step further than other VPNs. I really like their Threat Protection Pro feature that you can turn on super easy. which checks for malware whenever you're downloading something, and even checks all the links that you click to make sure you're not landing on those fake copycat websites that are created to steal your sensitive information. Anyone can fall for these scams no matter how savvy you think you are, and the FTC reported billions of dollars of losses in 2024, and yes, that's billions with a B. To get protected, sign up using my special discount link in the description to get an extra 4 months of NordVPN for free. It's risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Before we go check out the bathroom, I made a quick and easy checklist that you can use to check out your Airbnb or hotel for hidden cameras, and you can grab that for free in the description. So since the shower and the toilet area are places where you're more likely to be naked, you might want to spend a little extra time in these areas. I just like to do a quick physical touch test on anything that could be pointed towards the toilet or pointed towards the shower, just to see if I feel any bumps. You can check out the shower head thingy itself, and this is a little bit weird one because it's electric. One place a lot of people forget to look is up on the ceiling, because normally our eyes are all at this level, but there could be, like I said, a smoke detector or some sort of light, and this would be a prime spot for a camera. If your host provided you toiletries, or if there's decorations around the bathroom, you want to check all that, but luckily for me, this place is super duper bare bones and there's not much to check. There's one other outlet here that points straight towards the toilet and the shower, but that just looks normal. And right here we have a light switch and a little towel hanger thingy, which also look fine. Okay, now for the light test, so let's turn off all the lights. Turns out it doesn't get very dark in here at all because of all the windows, but I can still show you how to do it. You're gonna turn on your phone flashlight and switch it to the most strong setting. Now we're gonna go back to all those suspicious items that you identified earlier and just double check with the light trick to see if by shining the bright light here, you can see a reflection of any sort of camera. To be honest, there's actually another tool that works a little bit better than this, but if you're in a pinch, let's just check the microwave. If you're in a pinch, this works just fine. And if you're really worried about it, you can also pick up one of those hidden camera detectors on Amazon, super cheap, and I'll link to one of the most popular ones below. Most of these have a little viewfinder and these red LED flashing lights, and you look through the little viewfinder and it's supposed to reflect better off the camera and make them easier to find. Personally, I don't take it this far, but I realize that everybody is different, and so if you want to take this extra step, there's no judgment here. But if you just want to do a quick and easy scan without being overly paranoid, I would do the process that I just showed you, making sure to unplug anything that looks suspicious and just cover anything that you're not sure about. Also, a happy medium between using your phone's flashlight, which might be a little bit weak, and one of those actual hidden camera detectors, which might be a little bit paranoid, is to use like a small travel-sized tactical flashlight or even a good headlamp, which both of these are good things to pack when you travel anyways, and have saved me multiple times. Even though this Airbnb is a little bit dirty with a yucky dead cockroach, at least they seem to respect privacy. If you ever find a hidden camera in your Airbnb, contact the police immediately and don't contact the host about it. In my opinion, privacy isn't even the #1 concern when staying in hotels and Airbnbs. That would be security. And many people don't realize that there are some major security issues when staying in hotels, and these are things you really need to be aware of to keep yourself safe. To learn how thieves use creative ways to break into your hotel room and easy ways you can stop them, watch this video next. By using the small tweaks that I recommend, you can turn an insecure hotel room into basically Fort Knox. Like, subscribe, and do the things. Love you. Bye-bye.